My name is Jenna Mers, and I am a senior at Ramapo College studying to be an English teacher, hopefully in a middle school. As a student, I struggled a lot with reading comprehension. I still do. I never knew the importance of reading while I was growing up, and I avoided books as much as possible because I grew frustrated with how slow I read. Reading comprehension was my lowest score on the SAT. However, I have always been a great writer. As a freshman in high school, I was in an honors creative writing class designed for seniors. In college, I expanded my writing and took courses on poetry, which resulted in 2 poems that I am especially proud of, Open Heart Surgery and Trust, thanks to the help of Professor Hoke. Also, while in college, I was shown that the more I read, the more I would improve. I was introduced to all kinds of literature by Professor Kaiser, who taught my history of the English language, British literature, and Chaucer as a major author classes. I learned that I love old literature, even things written in Middle English and Old English. It took me a long time to get through pieces like the Canterbury Tales and Beowulf, but I enjoyed it enough to take the time to read it, and the practice of reading in almost a different language helped me with my reading comprehension more than I could ever imagine. Now that I understand the importance of reading, I have become very passionate about teaching that value to students. My desire to be a teacher also stems from family, since both of my parents are teachers and I have many aunts, uncles, and cousins that teach as well. My mom teaches in Karlstadt and has allowed me to join her in the classroom since I was in the 8th grade. When I chose literature as my major, her friend who teaches English in the same school began letting me teach Shakespeare and writing lessons in her class once or twice a year, as well as helping her grade her students' papers. I started tutoring students from the school, even some who were my age, and I participated in a poetry reading at a church in Karlstadt. I was able to get in touch with some of the teachers from Karlstadt Public School, including my mom, and ask them their thoughts on teaching.
We live in a time when there are so many things working against teachers. It's just a poor educational climate, and I think that many teachers are beginning to have their morale suffer from it. But I still, even given all of the things that are currently happening, would never have chosen anything else to do with my life. When I was 6 years old, we would play school in my basement, and I always had to be the teacher. Not really because it was just a game, but because when other kids were playing superheroes and pretending to be them, to me, my teachers were my superheroes. They knew every answer. They made me feel better when I cried. They cared for me when I was sick. They told me I was wrong when I was wrong. But to me, they were invincible. They weren't even real people. They were invincible, and they were my heroes. And I feel so lucky because my friends didn't grow up to be Wonder Woman or Superman, but I got to grow up and be a teacher.
I teach simply because for the first 7 years of my life, every teacher I had was boring, horrible, impersonable, and made me hate school. Then I got to 6th grade, and there was a teacher named Mr. Lockie, who was basically like me, and was cool, got me to learn, and I want to give that back to all my kids, to be that teacher that could make a difference in their lives. If I do, great. If I don't, but either way, that's why I teach.
I teach because I enjoy watching my students learn things. It makes me so proud when they get a light bulb above their heads and actually get something that I'm teaching and are excited to learn more about it.
Okay, I teach because eventually I believe it will make a difference.
I teach because for my entire life I've always wanted to give back to the children of my community, just like my teachers did for me.
Teachers because I love reading, I love literature, and so whenever I get to share that with a student and that they then come tell me, oh my god, I love to read now, that's one of my most favorite things in the world. I also love to write, so then when I get to share my passion for writing and teach someone how to become a stronger writer, and then at the end of the year they tell me, oh my god, I love to write now, that's one of the best feelings in the world. Or when someone just comes to me and says, you know, thanks for making my day better, like, thanks for listening to me, thanks for letting me express myself. those are all the reasons why I come to work every day, and I love doing what I do.
When I started taking education courses at Ramapo, I realized, like all of those teachers from CPS, that teaching is the right profession for me because there are many things that I feel need to change, and I want to be part of that change. Primarily, I don't agree with the pressure put on both students and teachers over standardized testing. I understand that it's used to get a general idea of how students are doing in school and how well the teachers are doing their jobs. But there is, I believe, a much more accurate, fair, and reasonable way to go about this: portfolios. Students should not be told that what they are good at isn't important. Standardized tests only include math and English, occasionally history and science, but those are only optional, and it's implied that those don't count as much. But in the real world, they do. So does art, music, mechanics, construction, etc. And I completely understand that those things can't be done without the foundations of English and math. But maybe teachers would teach better and students would learn better if there weren't classrooms full of teachers teaching to the test. Maybe if they submitted their absolute best work in a portfolio, they would be able to show what they know by applying their English and math knowledge to something above and beyond a test. They would be able to keep their confidence high and feel important, maybe even become passionate about learning and go really far in life because they were taught in school that whatever it is they excel in is wonderful. Teachers would be given the opportunity to actually teach valuable concepts and encourage students to explore what their minds are capable of. Maybe there would even be less students classified in school. Because maybe, just because students can't do a math worksheet doesn't mean they need special education. Maybe they just learn differently and should be allowed to learn their way. That is my educational dream. That is why I want to be a teacher.
Taught us much more than their craft to help our minds grow strong. This song is for those who guide us through and through, so that we can make a life that we say